grabs onto Gia and he sobs into her arms, and she hopes that this will be a breakthrough for him. And then for some reason there is like a line break. Like, I know I am holding this up to you like you can see it, but there's a break right there, the kind of line break I've been talking about. First, and I would assume only time that it happens in the book. All the other ones have a dog collar. I don't know what's going on. I couldn't tell you. They fall asleep with him crying in her arms. They wake up the next morning in bed together, and the grieving Nathan, the Nathan of which it said his grief 5 times in 2 pages, is gone. She reaches for him, and he says, "You're a dog," and he slaps her across the face. I don't know if you remember just a second ago how there was a fade to black with the attempted escape and then gunshot. That doesn't happen here. Here, it lingers on the shock of this slap for almost a whole page. And I'm not saying that it's unrealistic for her to not be used to his physical punishments and abuse. I think this reaction is totally fine in terms of realism, but it does make it feel like she's telling us about every single act of violence that happens in these years. Like, this slap is big news in the way she conveys it, which makes the prologue, where she's described as covered in bruises, a little bit confusing, because like in 3 years they've had just a handful of physical altercations, if that. At the end of this part, she's realizing that Nathan's mom's death hasn't softened him. She says he's harder now, harder than he's ever been before, which, like, word choice, come on. She says that whatever softness she thought she saw in him was a ghost, which is a classic sign of AI writing. Generative AI loves ghosts. And then we get to the next page, year 4, and finally, we have it on the right side of the fucking page. I guess, like, I just have to be thankful that we got there in the end, you know? That's where I'm at. I'm gonna go finish up these last 60 pages. I'm gonna go suffer through them, and then I will catch you up on what happens, and we will talk about what the hell is going on here. I will see you soon. Alright, for the love of God, I have finished Shy Girl. I dragged myself to the end, raw and bloody, but I made it. Let's get into it. I'm gonna try my best to summarize this last bit a little bit more efficiently than I've been doing, because this is exhausting for everyone. I am sorry that I've shared my suffering with you like this, but I really could not have done this alone. I don't think I would have survived. Okay, so year 4, it begins with Gia sprawled out on her pallet in the living room. I've got no idea what this is or what this means, and I can tell you with certainty that it never comes up again. She's actually never even really allowed this amount of freedom either again. Like, this really, truly comes out of nowhere. I thought at the time that it was showing how obedient and trustworthy she had become over the years, that he was letting her lie in the living room unchained on her pallet. Again, like, what do you mean, what do you mean your pallet in the living room? I don't know what that is. But there is no consistency in this book. There's no arc, there's no breaking down or building up, no development of anything. Things just happen, seemingly unconnected from each other, and we are meant to just accept that. So Nathan calls her into the kitchen where he's making stew, and he tells her that he's having company over that night, and she'll need to be bound and gagged while the company is there. Here we have another Shy Girl bingo moment where she says the word company is sharp contrast. She twists it into shapes that she doesn't want to name. Company is replacement, someone better, someone newer, because she's become too fragile, too worn. Her chest tightens and the panic presses against her ribs. Even if these words meant anything, which some of them do, they've lost all meaning now through their endless repetition. And like, she was literally saying that herself about the books that are in the dog room. She thinks of all the things that she wants to ask about this company coming over, but she hasn't asked a question in 4 years. And then she says, the last time I asked a question was when I asked what happened to Cupcake. So, like, I was there, and that was maybe 20 pages ago. Thank you so much, but, like, I got it. I'm there with you. I understand what you meant. Nathan takes her upstairs, and he gets